the same.
It rhymes. That's what they do with Star Wars. It rhymes.
It's like poetry.
It's like poetry. Thank you, George Lucas.
Hi, this is Randall here with No Market Media.
And I'm Matt. Today, Randall and I are taking a look at the latest Star Wars series that's currently streaming on Disney+. Today, we're taking a look at Obi-Wan Kenobi. It stars Ewan McGregor, Moses Ingram, Vivian Lyra Blair, and Hayden Christensen. The series was directed by Deborah Chow, who's also known for directing episodes of several TV series, including Better Call Saul, American Gods, and The Mandalorian.
Obi-Wan Kenobi takes place about 10 years after the end of Revenge of the Sith and finds Obi-Wan's exile on Tatooine is interrupted when a message from his old friend Bail Organa is received, asking him for help in retrieving a kidnapped Leia. We don't have any budget information for this because Disney doesn't care about budgets anymore. They just make shows and stuff. Put it on Disney Plus, don't gotta report the budget, no one cares if we lose money.
Yeah.
I see that it's got pretty much average reviews from critics and audiences, which for once puts critics and audiences on the same page for a Star Wars property. Doesn't happen very often.
Nope.
Also, I grew out my scruff to match Obi-Wan so I could do this for you guys.
Looks good. Looks good. Alright, I would say, generally, overall, I like the show, I guess, as a whole, but there's a lot of stuff in here that's a little uneven for me. Some things that are really, like, hit or miss. And even, I would say, like, the quality of it at times. Like, some things, like, scenes and elements and stuff look really good. And then there's other ones that are like, wow, they kind of skipped on that one. But it's Star Wars, and I guess that kind of goes with the territory with Star Wars a lot of times.
That's weird. It shouldn't, because it's like a flagship series, like, for Disney at this point. But, like, just, it's not as bad as Boba Fett's, where, like, there were just, like, out-and-out crazy errors in people showing up on screen and things just being all messed up. But yeah, I did notice a little bit of that. I'm honestly, like, as a series, I'm mixed. I'm like, there are things about it that are enjoyable. It's fun seeing these characters again. While I'm not, like, entirely tied to canon having to mean everything to everyone, like, you can make changes here and there that do actually make better things. I did find that some of the stuff in this series that gets said and what happens tramples on some of the more important lines from episode 4. Leia is like, hey, you worked with my father during the Clone Wars. Well, why would she say that in episode 4? She knows this. He knows this. Everyone knows this. They know each other, you know? She'd be like, hey, remember that time you helped me out with, when I was a kid? That's the message she would send, you know?
Well, and then on the same thing, going on that same scene where we're talking about Obi-Wan looking at, in episode 4 of Obi-Wan watching, like, the message from Leia. Like, in the same thing, they're also trying to, like, go back and, like, oh, now we're explaining, like, the Obi-Wan's point of view kind of thing when he told Luke about, Darth Vader killing his father, Anakin kind of thing.
See, no, but that doesn't bother me. That's, like, but that's something that didn't need to be put in there.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
they actually took the effort to make sure they put that in this show. When I think the movies already took care of it.
There's a meme at this point. You've probably seen the meme where it was like, "Oh, Obi-Wan, he must be dead by now," and he's like, "Why would he be? I saw him like 9 years ago. He was in decent health when we last saw each other." In the originals, that is like, hey, we don't know the last time these two met, and then you have a line of Obi-Wan at the end and Darth Vader at the end of episode 4 where he's like, when I left you, I was the learner, but now I'm the master.
Yeah.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
At the end of episode 3, that makes sense. But now, they've met previously.
They have. But I think they were trying to still stay too with, like, the flashbacks when they're going flashbacks back of, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan training, and Anakin still making the same mistakes that he made as Darth Vader now, and that he did when he was in that training. So I think maybe they're taking that whole approach at, like, the end when, Darth Vader's with the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, finally done with that. So now he's the master. Now that he's killed Anakin by not going after Obi-Wan, I guess.
That's weak sauce. You're a Star Wars apologist.
Honestly, though, that was something that was going to be in my notes for later on, though.
All right, so there's a couple of different plots going on here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the aforementioned like Leia plot that kind of kicks everything off.
Mm-hmm.
Leia is kidnapped by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and wait, no, Leia's kidnapped by some bounty hunters, basically. And instead of sending his own guard out to get her, which seems like that might have made sense because he's, basically the king of this entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
But you do you. He wants to like get Obi-Wan to go do it. I trust Obi-Wan to go get Leia. And like there's that storyline, and that's fun. And then there's the storyline of Reva that's going on with the Inquisitors and everything, and Darth Vader still obsessing over Obi-Wan, and that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel like these two storylines trampled over each other. They kind of work together.
So yeah, Reva, I mean, when we first see, like, she's obsessed over Obi-Wan, and we don't really know why. Or at least kinda. I think a lot of us are, like, watching...
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and it's funny because a lot of people are wondering, like, I wonder if Reva's actually this character. And I'm always thinking, like, well, wasn't that obvious?
Obviously.
Reva's definitely that character. But the exact reason for why she's after Obi-Wan specifically is kind of obscured, at least in the plot or whatever, until like later on and stuff. And yeah, like you said, we got our nice little like Leia and Obi-Wan going off to get Leia. But yeah, I mean, who cares if no one else like knows who Leia really is or whatever? I mean, she's the daughter of a ruler. Like, you would think that would be important regardless or whatever. But...
regardless of her actual personality. Yeah. Like, she's still the, this is the senator/king, because I like the wife is definitely the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the king? I don't know how Alderaan's royal family works. So the plots here, they're not like overly complicated plots.
Mm-hmm.
They're both pretty simple plots. And then you said like, hey, there's this thing with Reva going on, like why is she so obsessed with Obi-Wan? In due course of how the plot unfurls itself, you find out, well, okay, because Obi-Wan distracts Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And she is an Inquisitor. She hunts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she does.
Yep.
Now, granted, she's using this role to like as hunting Jedi to like hopefully hunt Vader, but in order to hunt Vader, she needs someone to distract Vader, which is Obi-Wan. She needs that person in order to actually accomplish her goal, because, like you said, she's obviously this person. It's like they didn't show you this. Hey, you want to see it again? That was a really cool scene. Yeah, you want to see it again? Wow, this is getting kind of heartbreaking. You want to see it again?
Yep.
They didn't show that, and this little, youngling escaping-ish the tower, the Jedi Temple for nothing. Obviously, she's that person.
I mean, the only other way they could maybe obscure that if it was like an Obi-Wan like flashback, because he has like nightmares about Anakin stuff. So maybe if he was flashing back, I mean, he wasn't there, so there's no way. But if he was like flashing back to him watching the video and the girl was in there, maybe they'd obscure it that way. But yeah, no.
It's okay because Leia knows what her mom looks like because she saw a statue of her.
Yep, good old comics.
He wasn't there, but I'm sure he could have nightmares of exact pristine memories
of places where he wasn't.
And people he didn't know, probably.
Force projection or whatever.
Yeah, force projection, yes.
Force images of things that he wasn't there to witness.
It's wizards. It's space wizards,
it is!
Okay?
It's space wizards!
Anyways, that's completely off the point of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, you also see this kind of smallish beginnings of, like, the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not really technically the rebellion yet. It's just, like, people who are anti-imperial and galactic emperor stuff. And you start seeing, like, hey, we have these little cells of stuff that, like, they sneak Jedi out, or they sneak people out away from the Emperor. So you start seeing like the nuances of the beginning of that story as well.
Yep. All right, so for characters, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I guess I'll start with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi to me was probably the best part of like the prequels, and I like having Ewan McGregor back for Obi-Wan. I think that was really the selling point of the show, and for me, it still works. I still like Obi-Wan or Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, even though this is kind of like later. Obi-Wan's definitely in a different place now than where he was at the prequels. Even I would say at the end of the prequels, even though at the end of the prequels he's on Tatooine, starts on Tatooine, but the character is in a different place.
That's one of the things. Like, it's nice seeing Obi-Wan on screen again. It's nice seeing Ewan McGregor reprise the role, with his big bushy beard. But I felt mixed on Obi-Wan himself.
Okay.
Because I'm like, why, Disney? Did you not learn this like, it's not a problem. It's to see characters like Luke and Obi-Wan. If you're trying to be accurate, like, they had some terrible things happen to them, and like their world views have been shaken to the point where they're not even the same character anymore. But I'm not quite sure that that's what fans want to see, And sometimes you get something good out of that. Sometimes you do, but I'm like, you know what? That was a huge problem with the sequel trilogy. Was, man, these characters don't even feel like anything like I recognize. And I felt the same about Obi-Wan in the beginning, where it was just like, I don't know. I don't know that that this is the Obi-Wan that I remember, that he would be, he's distraught, but like, is he really going to be completely torn down?
One thing I like, though, I actually like this better than Luke, because Luke, I think we just have that jump, and then we're told later, oh, this is why Luke is the way that he is now. This one, I think our first opening scene with like Obi-Wan is where he's like cutting the meat, and he faces adversity, and he's about to react how old Obi-Wan would react, but then stops himself and realizes the position he's in. So I actually like that transition that they did a little bit better. I think, to me, when I was watching, it kind of shows that at least they're acknowledging the old Obi-Wan, and then where this Obi-Wan is, and the kind of confliction that there is between the two.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was definitely done better than what they did with Luke. It really was. But I can definitely just also see this perspective of, man, why are you doing this again?
New stuff. People say they want new stuff, so we got to take old characters and make them new.
Taika Waititi says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
It's been an absolute disaster, but that's just the way it is on my films.
Speaking of old characters, Leia. At least Leia is a character that you can just, doesn't matter. Leia, it works. Little Leia is a firecracker. She's great, Now, some of the things they do with the characters, some of the situations they put her in, you're just like, gotta give her something to do. But like, it's fine. But like, yeah, Leia, consistent. She's like the most consistent character other than C-3PO throughout the entire like story arc of her entire life. I liked little Leia, and it's consistent. She feels right.
I think especially the first few episodes we have Leia, I think she really is like the scene stealer. At least for me, when Leia's on screen and stuff, that's really what I enjoyed at the beginning. Later on, like tail end, I think it's a little bit lesser, and some of the, I guess they have some good relationship moments between like Obi-Wan and Leia and stuff. But for the most part, I'm not as big on her character. I mean, she's fine, but I think those first few episodes, she really is like a scene stealer and stuff. So yeah, and of course, another character we've already been talking about, like Reva and stuff. There's been reported a lot of backlash about the character, maybe because of who's portraying the character and stuff. The way I look at it, if you look at like the Inquisitors, maybe if you're someone who's like, all right, I've only seen Star Wars movies and stuff, I don't know anything about these Inquisitors stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe this is supposed to be a Sith. She just doesn't feel like a Sith. I'll tell you, to me, she feels like all the other Inquisitors that we've seen in other stuff, from like Rebels to like the video game, Jedi Fallen Order. I think she fits with all those other Inquisitor characters.
I mean, she does. It does seem like she's trying too hard, and I don't mean the actress. I mean the character. The Reva is trying too hard to fit in, but she kind of has to, because that's in service of her storyline. she can't let up for a second, or else she's going against Darth Vader. You know, her ultimate goal is not Obi-Wan, it's Darth Vader.
Yep.
And she knows that she cannot drop the facade. She has to be as ruthless as possible. So yeah, all of the Inquisitors are ruthless. She's just emotionally ruthless.
Yep.
You know, like can't control it. And that's fine because it's completely in service of what her storyline needs to be, you know? So if you didn't like that, like you're maybe a little bit off put, like, oh, the actress is trying too hard. And I'm like, no, the actress is not. The character is.
Yep. Makes sense for what they're doing.
Is there another legacy character in this show?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there was one person I think they were maybe bringing back from the prequels and putting in this.
Tall guy?
Yeah, a little bit tall guy.
Taller guy. Yeah, mostly machine now. Yeah, that guy.
Yes, Hayden Christensen. I was actually glad to see Hayden in it, even though a lot of it is kind of like, flashbacks. And yeah, granted, they are older and stuff now, and we're doing flashbacks when they're like younger kind of thing. But
yeah, like they did a flashback that's kind of just after Clone Wars. Like episode 2 Clone Wars, not the series. And yeah, I was surprised they didn't do more CGI face stuff with them to make them look younger. It was during like a lightsaber fight, so it's hard enough to do that stuff with characters who are not moving around.
Yep, exactly.
A whole bunch. So I can kind of understand, but I didn't. I'm like, yeah, gosh, it's not like that was done 20 years ago, guys. They're older. Get over it. Why does the internet hate everything? Hayden Christensen notwithstanding, Darth Vader, I always enjoy, although the more they use him, the more his redemption story seems unlikely. Seeing Darth Vader just be bad, yeah, he does bad things. Darth Vader's a bad guy.
Yes, he is.
And I always enjoy seeing, I don't say I'm enjoying it, but like bad guys do bad things.
Yeah, treating villains as actual villainous characters as opposed to like, they're just misguided kind of things, and we only perceive them as bad.
From their perspective, they're doing the right thing, and it's like, listen, there's no perspective in what Darth Vader's doing is right. In all honesty, like everyone knows it's wrong, even in service of the Emperor. Like his tactics are cruel, so nope, I'm okay with it though. The only problem is, like I had just mentioned, is that sometimes you keep seeing just how cruel he really is and can be, and you start thinking, man, I don't know how Anakin gets there. Because Anakin's got a temper and Anakin can do bad things, but Darth Vader just does downright villainous, evil things.
Yep. And like you said, too, they're trying to go on that whole thing like, Anakin, anything that was of Anakin is gone. Or I'm slowly killing. At least at the end of this whole series, they basically, try to say, like, the Emperor kind of puts in that last thing is, like, in order for you to fully be Vader, you pretty much have to get over Obi-Wan kind of thing.
Kenobi means nothing. I serve only you, my master.
So as a genre, we've said this pretty much every time we do a Star Wars thing. Does it feel like Star Wars? Because Star Wars is its own genre at this point, And you know what? It does. It pretty much does feel like Star Wars. It's nice to see these characters. It's nice to see the world. It's nice to see the time period. Feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree. I would say the same thing about feeling like Star Wars. We get a lot of callbacks to the movies, but I was interested to see that we also get calls back to elements from the shows. Specifically, when we get our last fight between Vader and Anakin, or Vader and Anakin, Vader and Obi-Wan, it feels just like the Ahsoka Vader
was
one.
Right, by the way.
Yeah,
both those statements were correct
because Vader is fighting with Anakin too. But yeah, I mean, it felt the same. Even how we get like the whole like you see both Vader and Anakin kind of at the same time, or what could be like they use that in Rebels with Ahsoka and stuff. Though I think I enjoyed that a little bit more. Maybe it's because I'd seen it before. I like the original better. But if you had never seen that before, this might have been a bit more impactful.
If you watch the Ahsoka Vader fight and you watch this Obi-Wan Anakin fight, it's like watching episode 4 and episode 7.
Yeah.
They're the same.
It rhymes. That's what they do with Star Wars. It rhymes.
It's like poetry.
It's like poetry. Thank you, George Lucas.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
One thing I would say about this when it comes to genre, so with like The Mandalorian, it had like a Western feel to it, a lot of it. This one, I don't know that it has any particular feel at all. I think it really is, as we were going to our original point, it's Star Wars. It's just taking elements from different parts of like Star Wars and putting it together, as opposed to having like another genre feel throughout.
I will say one of the things that I will give it good credit for is that it doesn't do the like just Easter eggs just for fan service thing that The Mandalorian does all the time, where it's like, that's Anakin's speeder. Like it's none of that, like that kind of Easter eggs is in there. The references all make sense to other things, you know? It's not just shoved in there because.
Yep.
Okay, I could not say that I didn't see this coming, but I will say that I'm disappointed in it. Because I do care a little bit more about canon than I guess maybe the average person, I would say. I kept hoping like that Obi-Wan and Anakin would, or Darth Vader would never actually meet in lightsabers. I didn't want to see that. I know that it's big fan service, and I'm not saying that the lightsaber battles between them weren't pretty awesome, especially the last one, but I just felt like it was unnecessary. It was like I wanted that point in episode 4 to mean so much more, and the more time that these two spend together in between, the less poignant those lines are that Vader says in episode 4.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Obi-Wan. You couldn't kill Anakin. I got it, because he was your friend, he was your brother, all of that.
You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!
You had Darth Vader, the Emperor's right-hand man, dead to rights, completely defeated, and you walk away? Obi-Wan, you've got to get your priorities straight.
I guess it's kind of like the callback to Luke, maybe, from Return of the Jedi, when Luke could have killed Vader, but is like, nah, I'm not going to kill...
No, but that's...
I don't know.
Situation is so different. There's no reason for him to leave this Vader character alive. Because the reason he couldn't kill Anakin was because it was Anakin.
Yep.
And now it's like, whatever's left of Anakin's dead, I killed him, I'm Darth Vader. And it's like, stab. You know?
It's one of those things, too. If his whole thing is to protect, like, Luke and Leia, and, like, you kill, like, Darth Maul because Darth Maul is going after Luke, you'd think you'd be able to kill Vader because Vader would be a threat to Luke and Leia.
Exactly.
But
like, a huge threat to Luke and Leia. A giant threat. So, yeah, like, is that whole last lightsaber battle between these two awesome and sweet and, like, yeah, it's great. It's awesome fan service. But I'm like, it's point. It doesn't make sense in the story that he would just not finish it finally.
Right.
When he's got it right there.
And he sees that it's not Anakin. It is just Vader now.
And it's not like with Ahsoka either. Like, with Ahsoka, she was not able to best him.
Right.
Even though she was able to, like, take a part of his mask off, she still couldn't defeat him. That was not the case. Obi-Wan had him beat.
Yep.
What do I know?
Me, what I didn't see coming, I actually didn't expect that we were going to get Leia in this show, and that Leia would be such a scene stealer at the beginning. I guess that is my most pleasant surprise, because I really did enjoy when I saw it and what they did with a young Leia and stuff. I felt it fit the character really, really well, and I enjoyed it. It was something I didn't expect. There's some other things that I was kind of expect that we get, especially like one little thing that we get at the end. I was expecting it, even though I kind of didn't expect it for a while, because the person who does that, like, cameo or whatever said, like, oh no, I'm not going to do it. So
okay, then.
yeah, so like that I was kind of expecting, but like yeah, the Leia stuff and the role that she plays, I wasn't expecting that at all.
I was expecting that cameo.
Yeah, at the end.
I really was.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't know when it was gonna come. If it was gonna be like during a really more poignant point, or like where he really needed it. But like I was expecting that. So I mean, he's in the cast list. If you just go look at the cast list,
yeah, but they weren't gonna do that until afterwards.
But yeah, I agree. Like when I watch the original trailers and everything, and I see what's going on, they show young Luke, they show Obi-Wan watching him, and then they show all the stuff, and my headcanon where like I was predicting, all right, this is where the show's gonna go, is that the Emperor or the Inquisitors might be on to Luke, so Obi-Wan has to lead them away.
Yes,
like that's where I thought, and I'm like, well, I think that's what they meant. And then to find out, oh no, it's not about Luke at all. It's all about Leia. Okay. Okay. Interesting, I guess. Although that has all other episode 4 problems, but you know, her character was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. I agree. All right, I enjoyed this show for the most part. Especially as we've mentioned, I enjoyed Obi-Wan and Leia in this show. Like that was really the highlight for me. There were some really good scenes in here. Rand and I, we already mentioned some of the fights, even though, you know, whether or not we really liked them being included, but they were awesome and fun to see and stuff. They were really enjoyable. Some things kind of seemed a little bit cheaper, a little bit different, kind of came out a bit for me. But I'm glad that this show was actually like 6 episodes, at least for this storyline. To me, it didn't feel like too long and overstay its welcome kind of thing. But me personally, I would be up to seeing more Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Me personally, because I do enjoy him as the character.
These episodes were too short. But making them longer wouldn't have fixed anything.
Yeah,
so
yep.
You know, mostly I see this show as fine. It's really good fan service, if that's like your thing. Like you go to watch Star Wars because I just want to watch Star Wars. It felt a lot like Solo to me, because it's fine. It's not as bad as everyone makes Solo out to be. It's just my biggest problem with Solo and my biggest problem with Obi-Wan is it didn't add anything to the canon that matters. Everything still unfolds more or less the way that you expect it to unfold, because none of these characters can die and we don't care. You know, like no matter how much peril you put Obi-Wan in, he can't die. No matter how much peril you put Leia in, she can't die unless you Adama it. Gotta watch Caprica, people. Gotta watch Caprica. That's my biggest thing. I just felt like, yeah, it's fun to watch. It's fine, but it didn't change anything. It didn't do anything.
I do kind of like, in comparison to, let's say, like the Book of Boba Fett, the people that really wanted a Boba Fett show, I think, were disappointed that they got like the Mandalorian season, I don't know why you would say 2.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
This one was just a focus on Obi-Wan. It wasn't like, hey, we're gonna bring in Ahsoka in here, and then this is gonna be kind of a kickoff to like our Ahsoka show or something like that or whatever. I did like that this was just, you know, the combined Obi-Wan, even though it would be a completely different Ahsoka show if they did that different times. But yeah, I like that we didn't have kind of like that the overlap of shows with this one.
You know, that's good. That's a good point. Now I'll elaborate. Please don't make a season 2. It's not that I don't want to see the characters, but like there's just not anything these characters need to do to make it any better. You know, like, or worse for that matter, which is more likely what would happen is you'd unfortunately make it worse unintentionally. Yeah, Disney, you're making money and people like it and fans like it, but like know when to stop. Like it's 6 episodes, you told your story. Obi-Wan's got his groove back, you know. Good. That's it.
And we see both Leia and Obi-Wan again in Rebels, so if you haven't watched Rebels after watching this, go check that out and you get good stuff in between now and episode 4.
So that's my thought. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did you like Obi-Wan? Fan service, not fan service? Is Randall right? Is Matt right? Apologize.
Guilty.
You let us know. We also have some other show reviews. We have new movie reviews, some flashback movie reviews, and some deeper dive discussions.
Also, be sure to check us out on Facebook. We post on different things that we're working on. We also post stuff from our different fandoms, trailers, other things, sneak peeks. But if you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Just go to our YouTube page. We post new videos regularly. For now, I'm Matt with No Market Media. Have a good day, everyone.
And I'm Randall. I'll see everyone next time.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.